This video is going to be an update on my Instant Pod coffee and espresso maker. I've had a lot of requests to do an update, let you guys know if I still like it and if I still think it's worth the cost. I've been using it now for about 8 months, and as far as functionality, it is still going strong. I have not noticed any decline in quality of the coffee or the espresso that it makes. I did have to descale the machine a while back, and I did a video on that. But you're just supposed to do that every 300 uses, and so it let me know that it had been 300 uses, and I descaled it. It worked great, and it's functioning just fine. Right now, this is probably my most used kitchen appliance. I use it a few times a day, so that definitely tells you something right there. I can't give it a bad review if I'm using it multiple times a day for 8 months straight. I will say up front that I don't have a lot of experience with Keurig-style coffee makers or Nespresso makers. This is the only one that I have owned. I've used a few other ones in different places, but as far as daily use, this is the only one I've owned. If you guys have any insight about other Keurig-style coffee makers, espresso makers, definitely leave in the comments any experience that you have. But I can just tell you about what this one does and things that I wish it did better. The first and biggest negative for me is the buttons. They are very finicky, and if you don't press them just right, they don't work. If you press them too hard, if you press it too quick, it doesn't turn on. You have to get it just right to get it to turn on. And for me, that's not a very big deal because I have learned how to use it and it's easy for me now. But whenever I have someone else come over, it's like I have to teach a master class on how to make this thing function, because they're sitting here trying to press it harder, you know, and try to get it to turn on or turn off or whatever. And one of the main reasons that I like having a coffee maker like this is for when I do have people over and everyone can just make their own coffee and pick out the pod that they like, dark or medium or light roast, and I don't have to make a whole pot of coffee. But then when it's so difficult for new people to come and use, it just is inconvenient and not as hospitable as I would hope a coffee maker would be. The second negative that I have noticed is that it does seem to drip quite a bit. I have heard from other people that have different Keurig style coffee makers that they don't drip at all. Once the program is done, it stops completely. With this one, it seems to drip for a little while after I take my cup away. There is a drip pan here, which is great, but I do have to remember to clean this fairly often because it does get standing water in there and it's kind of gross. The last thing that I would consider a negative about this coffee maker is the temperature of the coffee as soon as it's brewed. I prefer my coffee to be really hot, and I find that it's not hot enough coming from this machine. So I'm definitely open to the idea that I just like my coffee hotter than average, and this is not an issue for most people. But I'm gonna go ahead and brew a cup of coffee, and then I'm gonna test the temperature of it. And those of you that have Keurigs or any other kind of K-Cup coffee maker, if you feel like testing the temperature of yours and letting me know, that would be great. I would really appreciate that. Get my pod in there. Turn it on. I'll do 8 ounce. I always do 8 ounce. I wish there was an option for 6 ounce with the K-Cup. They have only 12, 10, and 8 when you're using the K-Cup, and I find I never use a 12 or a 10. I guess I just like my coffee extra strong, and I wish there was an option to do it even stronger. So I guess that would be one other small complaint that I have, but I totally understand the way they have it set up. All right, so let's see what this comes up to. 163, it looks like. 162, 163. So I really am curious to know if other Keurig coffee makers are different, and if there is one that brews the coffee a little hotter, I might be interested in changing up my coffee setup. So there are all my thoughts on the Instant Pod coffee maker after 8 months. Even though I did have several negative reviews about it, I still use it every day. I still love that it has both options of the K-Cups and the Nespresso pods. A lot of things about it I absolutely love, and I would recommend it just as long as you're aware of the possible negatives about the machine. I think it could be a great option for a lot of different people. Here at the end, I'll put links to my review and unboxing of the Instant Froth milk frother, which I've been loving in conjunction with the Instant Pod coffee maker. Makes great like lattes and stuff, as well as my unboxing and review of the Instant Pot Zen tea kettle. Also have been loving that. Hope you guys are doing great. I'll talk to you in the next video.